to the Cup of Christ. I am so happy to be here. I know, I'm late. I was in Cali this weekend and I originally was going to make this video out in Cali, you know, different scenery, but somebody forgot to pack the SD cards. So, guys, I don't know what happened. I think I was just so excited to go to Cali that I actually left the SD cards on my bed, you know, thinking that I would remember. Anyway, but I am here and I'm doing this and I'm ready to share with you what God had put on my heart for this week. And it's funny because I was actually expecting a totally different topic that he wanted to talk about, but he really put it on my heart that he wanted to reiterate and kind of reinforce what we talked about in the last video about the calling that he has for your life. But I will also want to say thank you guys for those of you who reached out to me to let me know that the last video that I posted really helped you, really encouraged you. That really warmed my heart because now I know that God is really speaking through these videos, and that's what I wanted. I said, Lord, even if it's just one person, that's all I need. Just one person and I'm satisfied. Thank you guys so much for your feedback, and if you have any other feedback, please give it. Any other testimonies, I will be more than happy to share if you want me to do that. So, on to what we were talking about. Now, like I said, I was trying to find out what he wanted to say, but he wants to reiterate what we had talked about in the past about how, you know, our calling that he placed on our heart, it's up to us if we want to make the decision and take that leap. And tell me why my cousin this weekend gave me this book, Leap by Jacob Rodriguez, to read. And it is answering the call to capture your dream. And I was like, God, you were just awesome, because he just kept speaking to me. He kept, you know, and I thought maybe it was for you guys because I kept asking, Lord, what do you want? But as I started reading this, I started saying this was for me too. So guys, I tell you, we're growing together. As I read this book, I had 3 quotes that I wanted to share with you all about your calling and the calling that God has for you, and making sure that it aligns with him. Because that is our purpose, is to bring him honor and glory. And I say that in the first quote that I'm reading, it says, "You cannot leap into the affairs of God until you see the God who leaped into the affairs of man. You cannot capture your dream until you capture his. Because you see, it's not about you. It's about him." Now, that right there was an eye-opener for me, because I had remembered that a lot of the callings that I had, the callings that were on my heart before, they didn't work out, and I always wondered why. And then I read this and I was like, I got it. The callings, or the callings that I believed were from God, it was bringing me honor and glory. It was everybody was looking at me, and I was like, yeah, you know, I know, I'm good. But that's not how this works.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
This is about him. We have to bring honor and glory to him. When everybody looks at us, they need to see him. And that is the whole point of this. You know, right now we are living in the last days, you guys, and our job is not to be comfortable. Our job is not to be famous. Our job is not to be, you know, have 1 million followers on Instagram or 1 million likes or whatever. Our job is to bring him the honor and glory. That is what we were made for. We are his creation. And our gifts are, when we use our gifts for him, that's our way of giving back. That's our way of honoring and glorifying him. So that is one thing that you have to ask yourself. Is the gift, or is the calling that I have on my life right now, or that I feel in my heart, is it going to bring honor and glory to him and not feed my ego? We have to make sure that our egos aren't being fed. The next quote I saw is, "The worst mistake is to go where he didn't send you. Second to that is to stay where he's already moved." You know, when I made this channel, when I had the desire to make this channel, God was already moving. He was already putting things in place, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, nope, that's not it. That's not it. And I could see that I wasn't content with life. I wasn't happy. I told you that in my last video. I didn't love who I was. I didn't love my life because I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. I wasn't listening to his call. That's what this is about. We have to make sure that we are following him, that if he goes somewhere, if he moves somewhere, we are right there with him. That it doesn't matter what everybody else does. Are we in line with him? Are we in line with what he is placing in our hearts and what he is calling us to do? See, you have a unique gift. You were called for a certain reason, a certain purpose that nobody else is called to do. And that's something that you have to answer. And God's depending on you. God's depending on you to answer and say yes or no. And it's up to you. The decision is all up to you. That's one thing about the God that I love. You know, he doesn't force himself. He doesn't force you to do anything. He is a gentleman, and he wants you to be used. He wants to use you, and he wants to mold you and have your ministry flourish. But he won't force you to do it. It's free will, guys. So that's something that you're going to have to make the decision on. So the last quote that I found or I saw that was just powerful to me is, "You can't capture the dream until the dream captures you." I hope this doesn't sound confusing, but you don't awaken to your dream by awakening to your dream. You awaken to it by awakening to the will of God. You awaken to your dream when you come to the end of yourself, standing knee deep in a well and crying out to God for direction. So Pastor Rodriguez was talking about Jonah and how, you know, the Lord made it to where there was no other way that Jonah could go but up. And sometimes that is what God has to do when he has a special calling for your life, when he wants you and he wants to use you, and he knows that an actual encounter with him can change your perspective. That's what he will do to get closer. How wonderful is that? How intimate is that? How beautiful is that his love for you, if he knows that he's going to be able to reach you, he will do everything he can in his power just to get to know you. Honestly, if as a human you would think, oh, if you're trying to get somebody's attention and they keep pushing you off, no, forget it, I'm moving on. But man, isn't it awesome that God is not like that, you guys? God will not turn his back. Each of us has a unique testimony. Each of us has a unique gift that nobody else can use. And see, your relationship with the Lord is different from my relationship with the Lord. My relationship with the Lord is unique, just like yours with him is unique. You cannot compare your calling, your dreams, or your ministry or your relationship with the Lord to anybody else's, because we're all unique. I asked a friend of mine if I could share this with you all. It's something that he sent to me, or we were talking about, he was sharing his testimony with me, which is an amazing testimony. I hope maybe he can share one day with us. But he was talking about how the Lord pulled him and grabbed him from, this treacherous world. And coming from a ministerial background where I never actually knew what it was like to be outside of the Lord, or grow up without the Lord. I mean, the minute I was born into the ministerial family. And God, even though I didn't know God, but God was all I knew. I knew about him. So I was telling him how his testimony is so unique, and I was thinking, mine's not that great, And he talked about how we meet God is so intimate. And I want to share with you, and thankfully he let me share this with. He said, "I believe the reason we all meet God in different ways is because intimacy is something unique. It can never be the same, for we are all made to be unique. God's intimacy is something unique to each one of us, and that is why we don't find this kind of love in humanistic behavior, for we always try or want to be loved like someone else. So we might come from different backgrounds, but we all need the uniqueness of his love." And that impacted me so much, because I started thinking, that is so true. My story with the Lord is my own personal story, and I told him I would never trade it for anything, because I believe that the way that I had encountered the Lord was what needed to spark that desire in me to be a better person, and it sparked my ministry. That is the same with you. You met the Lord in a different way, in a unique way, and it's a testimony that the world needs to hear. Now, maybe it won't relate to everybody, but somebody out there is going through something similar that you're going through, that you went through, and your testimony will bring them to him. That's the whole point. Is it's not about us. Again, going back to that, it's not about us. It's about bringing him the honor and glory. So the Lord is asking you to answer that call because you are unique and you're the one that can tell the story with authenticity. That's the thing, is that, you know, some people, if you don't really know the Lord, they can tell when you're being fake. They can tell when you have no experience. As much as you try to paint over, yeah, I don't know. But it's funny, my testimony didn't have weight until I went through the fire. Then I went through the trials. Then I came out and God had put weight on my words because I had lived them. Now that I went through that trial, I knew what I was talking about. So you went through a certain trial, or you have a testimony that the world needs to hear. Somebody out there needs to hear. But again, it all comes down to you. Are you willing to accept that God's calling your life? Are you willing to step out and take the leap and see what God can do with your testimony? See what God can do with your ministry. Because when you do that, guys, I can't express to you how more at peace I am with myself, because I am finally listening to what God has. I'm finally doing what He asked, and it feels wonderful because I'm not getting any honor and glory for it. He is getting all the honor and glory, and that is just the most beautiful thing, because you all are going back to Him. That's the whole point of this. So guys, please do not, once again, do not hesitate. Jump. He is going to catch you. I promise. He's not going to let you down. He has yet to let me down. And in these 28 years that I have lived, I have seen His mercy and His grace over and over and over again, and never once. People have failed me. You know, we're all human, but never once did He fail me. So I promise you guys, He will not let you down. The Lord really is calling us, guys. We are in the last days, and it's time for us to stand up and take hold and take charge of our ministry and do it for Him and bring Him honor and glory, because that is what He deserves. After everything He's done for us, it's the least we can do. So guys, again, don't be afraid. He is calling you, and He's gonna provide. He will make a way. Just trust Him. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please click to do so. Follow me on Instagram. Now that I'm back in on the East Coast, I am back on track, and next Monday, definitely, there will be a new video. Guys, I love you all so much. You all have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Monday. God bless you.